Hi guys, it's Charlie and welcome to a new show that I'm trying, which I'm calling A Change of Scene. This is where I take the week's WeAreMovieClub pick and kind of talk about what I do differently or how I'd change it, because that's one thing I always find when I'm doing movie reviews, is that while I like what's come out, or in some cases don't like, there are always things that I think, maybe they could have done that, or that might have worked better. Or in some cases where I'd like to have seen the story get a real expansion. So I'm just going to take the pick each week and just ramble for a few minutes about what I would do. So this week's pick was Night Watch. Now, I suppose the first thing I'd change, or the first thing you'd want to change, would be the language, because it being in Russian, it makes the film a lot more difficult as a watch. But then I worry that you may lose some of the impact of the film, so I'm going to ignore that, because I don't think the language needs to be tampered with. The one segment I would probably give the most expansion to, after the initial prologue scene, which is set thousands of years ago, that's not what I'm referring to, the scene after that is a bit of a flashback to 1992 in Moscow. Anton is having the conversation with she's a witch really, about having this child aborted, and this all happens and she is interrupted before the whole process can be completed, and as such the child isn't really aborted. And you see Anton basically discover that he is one of these others, and he is a member of the Night Watch. And then it flicks to 12 years in the future, and he very much looks like a down and out, and it doesn't look like everything's going all that well for him. But there's no real explanation as to what happens in that 12 years. I mean, it could be that there's nothing, but you would imagine that between realising that you have this affliction and to the present day, you'd expect something to happen. So even if they just address that throughout the film with some occasional flashbacks or references, then that might be fine. But I think that was a really big jump which they could really have expanded on. To be honest, I think they could have replaced some of the supernatural bits, because I very much got the feeling that it was a bit of a clusterfuck. It was a bit cluttered, and there was just this happening. It almost felt like too much. So I think I would want to take some of the supernatural bits out, because some of them I felt didn't entirely make sense or weren't expanded on as well as they could be. So maybe things like the use of the torch. I can't really think of how the gloom affects everything too much. So, these little changes about maybe taking things out and putting more of a character development in, because there isn't much development as far as Anton's character goes, and I think the film could really benefit from that, because he is the focal point of the film. So I would do that, personally. I don't think you would need to expand it too much timing-wise, because it's nearly 2 hours of a film. So I think if you made it much longer, what is a difficult watch already would become unwatchable. So I wouldn't do that. But these are, of course, just my opinions. If you want to express yours, then by all means feel free to go crazy in the comments down below. I'd love to know what you do. Again, this is just a bit of an experimental segment, so if you like or dislike it, then again, please let me know in the comments. This is going up on the We Are Movie Club channel and my personal channel, so you will find the links to those below if you wish to subscribe to either of those. Thank you for watching, and I will see you for next week's pick on Change of Scene.